Christine, how are you?
Very well, thank you. I always want to say hello to people when I see familiar names pop up. It's very exciting. Feels like we're having a party here.
Well, we are sort of having a party. What's the party that you're going to be celebrating later, Christine, if that's okay to mention?
Yes, Eve's just got engaged and her godmother's coming round tonight. So we're having a party. We're just going to eat and drink, but Eve's got no food in the house. She's just going to have to get some. So she's not planned it very well, but it doesn't really matter. We're just
all the excitement, especially after the year that you guys have had to have that sort of announcement was fantastic. Jan, it's lovely to see you, but could you turn off your video, please? Thank you very much. We'll get you into the breakout room later. Yeah, can you just go through all the flowers behind? We'd like to know the varieties, the country of origin.
We've only got lilies here, but they're very weird. They're blue and green and pink. And if I push them out of the way a bit, you'll see some carnations and roses next to a bottle of champagne. I'm not sure whether he's going to allow us to open them all tonight, but I just thought it would just make a nice background if you could all.
Fantastic, and big congratulations to Eve on that happy engagement. And any idea about dates and things, or you're not worried about that?
She's a project manager. He's in the army. It's June the 11th.
Oh my God! What?
Next year. Sorry.
Oh, so I said, but good grief! I'd have to. Yeah. I was going to have to go and buy a hat. A hat and a dress. Right, come on, let's get on with this now that we've got everyone in. Just to say hello to everyone on LinkedIn, Facebook, on the podcast, and on YouTube. It's great to have another outing of women in food and farming, especially as this time we've got got a great speaker. We've got Clare Keegan of Harper Adams discussing degree level apprentices. But let's just do the brief for Christine and everyone in the respect of who women in food and farming are. They're a group of professional women in food, agriculture, and the land-based industries at all stages of their careers who get together to discuss business issues, support each other via mentorship and advice, and help generate networks of contacts that may be useful to themselves and their businesses. Founded in 2011 by Christine Tacon CBE, the group started, I always meant to take that out, Christine. The group started back in 2011, we've already said that, with just 5 ladies, and it's now grown over to 500 members. And I'm adamant, Christine, I think by the end of this whole malarkey, this whole pandemic, we've got to get you over 1,000 members, and I think we need to broach this more. And we've talked about it before, that we'd love to, everyone that comes on, we'd love you to invite 5 or 10 of your peers, colleagues, friends to come and join the broadcast, but also to join the group, and we'll say how to join a little bit later. Christine is known to many as the first Grocery Code Adjudicator and head of the Co-op's farming business, and she's been recently appointed chair of the Assured Food Standards, which operates the Red Tractor Assurance Scheme, amongst other roles. And we, Beanstalk, are very proud to offer our platforms in our peculiar times. Christine, have you got anything to say to the group in this lovely June day, now that we've actually got out of our slightly cold and wet winter?
Yeah, well, just thank you all very much for coming and sitting at your screens, and I'm sure you'd rather be outside with the gin and tonic.
Well, I was hoping you were going to supply that, so we could. All I've got is a cup of tea. So let's talk about this the subject, Christine. Degree level apprentices. Why is that important?
It is important, but I didn't choose it, which I think is what you were going to ask me. Debbie Winstanley, who's one of the big supporters and very often on these broadcasts, suggested that we had a speaker from Harper Adams. And when she approached the company secretary there, they recommended Clare to talk about degree level apprenticeships. And at MDS, we put all of our trainees do a level 5 apprenticeship. And I think that for those of us that really aren't up to speed, apprenticeships are the new in thing. And I think many of us are trying to do our very best to say that these are absolutely on a level of doing degrees, and we just want to get away this myth of apprenticeships are maybe for people who are less capable, and I think that they are now. I think we ignore people doing apprenticeships at our peril, because I think a fair number of very sensible people are going to decide, actually, I know what I want to do, I want to get practical experience, I want to earn money from the day I leave school, and I will do a degree while I'm there, and in 5 years' time I'll be as qualified as anybody else and an awful lot richer.
Should we get Clare from Harper in?
Yeah.
Clare, come and join us. Christine, Clare, thank you very much. Say hello to everyone.
Hi, everybody. Nice to be here. Thank you.
So Claire, just want to go back to Christine. Christine, you verbalised that so well. Are you a recent convict? Oh my God, convert to apprenticeships, or is this something that you've been thinking of bubbling around in the back of your head for a while?
I will be absolutely honest with you that as MDS, we chased the money. The government was doing apprenticeships, which would pay for training. And we used to have to raise money through our day rates that we charge our members to train everybody. And through an apprenticeship, we could get the same, or we decided we could do the same level of training apprenticeship. But I actually think it became, the more we've looked into it, the more we understood it, the more I think it's excellent, and it's very flexible. So even if somebody left MDS without having finished their apprenticeship, they can continue it somewhere else. So it's like a flexible way of building up your training. So I've become a convert, and now I want to take away any stigma that's attached to apprenticeship and say, actually, really, you must look twice at people who've done them because they've got something about them.
And just before we come on to Claire, Christine, we mustn't forget the great piece of work that you and I did, along with Nuffield, along with the Worshipful Company of Farmers, along with, I've forgotten someone, about the
Institute of Ag Management.
Well done, Ag Leadership Week, as promoted by the AHDB. So there's big push, everyone, for leadership at all levels within agriculture and fresh food. And I thought that week, Christine, was stunning. I thought it highlighted some great courses and great organisations, and this lovely word I'm loving over the last year, collaboration. The fact that sort of vaguely competing courses have all come together as one under this mantra of leadership, getting this out from, whether it be a tractor driver to a CEO, everyone can have leadership. And we talked about it on the broadcast, that there's a great graph from Cranfield University that shows that those companies that invest in their people see far better increases of turnover, better increases of profitability, and better increases of staff retention. So training, development, we've just got to encourage this more and more within our sectors.
And continual professional development. You don't leave university and hang your hat up and think, I've got nothing more to learn. And that's what almost all of the courses that got together on that week, calling people back 5 years or so after they've left university to say, come back, learn something else.
Yeah, well said. Christine, you've been fantastic. Do you mind if we push you aside? Because we want to talk to Claire, find out all about Claire. Claire, can I just say that Harper Adams is such a nice university. It's a sort of university that, for some bizarre reason, accepted me all those years ago. And I was thinking, everyone's got their own tales of agricultural colleges and universities. The one that I always march out is that I love the difference between Harper and Cirencester. That back when I was at Harper, when Cirencester used to come up and visit us and play our first 15, they always used to sing on the touchline. I won't try to sing it, but basically went along the lines of, "You are our tractor drivers, and we are your landlords." We always used to look at each other and go, actually, they're quite right. But the thing I love about agriculture and these universities, it's not at all that we're all against each other. We're all in one big family. So whether it's Cirencester, Harper, Newcastle, Reading, Bristol, I could go on. You could just spot these young individuals coming out because they've just got such confidence about them, and they're so worldly wise because of the way that the courses have been set up and the way pre-college years, placement years, fantastic lecturers at all of the institutions. But for those that aren't aware, Claire, can you just give us a bit of a brief, a bit of an advertorial about Harper Adams University, please?
Yes, well, we're obviously a rural Harper Adams Enterprise University, and I think it's changed quite a lot since it was an agricultural college so many years ago. Degree apprenticeship started for us back in 2017, and that's when I was brought into the university, really to try and develop this new stream of different types of students coming to us. The university is based in a beautiful location, and the sun's shining today, with 685 hectares of land, but, doing everything that you could possibly imagine, from microchipping slugs to agri-tech research with hands-free farming and all in between. So the whole farm to fork food chain is covered in a variety of different ways, and that is with all different types of courses. So not just apprenticeships, but obviously undergraduate, postgraduate, masters, and a variety of CPD and short skills programs as well.
And rough student numbers?
About 3,500 all told.
Wow.
But obviously that's made up of those that are being taught in industry, as well as our undergraduate and postgraduate students. And we're growing the international students as well. Obviously that's been hit by COVID, but we are encouraging more people to come forward from a wider range of backgrounds.
Yeah, that's fascinating, because back in my day it was 600 and you sort of virtually knew the name of everyone there. But that's not to say that's at fault for it to be 3,000 plus, because we need more people in the sector. I'm sure you're picking up, like we are as well, that there is a number of positive opportunities that are happening within ag. Within fresh produce in the UK and internationally, but there's a shortage of people. But there's one thing that we picked up at the back of COVID. I don't know if you saw the report last week that there's been an upsurge of people looking to join the social work industry because of everything, the good work that they've seen other people doing. We're picking up the same, that the younger generation are wanting to come into the fresh food sectors because they actually want to make a difference. And am I really going to bring this into this broadcast? Look at Jeremy Clarkson and his new TV show that's coming out about his farm, Dingledale. No, is it Dingledale? No, let's give it another name. One of you kind folk will remind me what it's called. But it's basically talking about farming and agriculture and getting people being excited to come to it and hopefully come to the likes of Harper. So can you just hold my hand and just talk me through apprenticeships and degree apprenticeships? What go to basics for me. What's the purpose of them? What do they do, please?
Well, they've changed incredibly since 2017, and obviously we used to have a situation where you'd have an apprentice on a framework and they'd go through a program and be developed by a training provider, and they would then leave that organisation and move on to somewhere else. What's happened since the reforms is we've got these new employer-led apprenticeship standards. So groups of employers have come together around the table, developed these trailblazers, and we've got these fantastic new apprenticeship standards, all the way from level 2 right up to level 7. Wow. So you can have a postgraduate apprenticeship or you can have a level 2 apprenticeship. They go right across the different occupational maps. So there's an occupational map for agriculture, animals, horticulture, and you can see the different routes and the different levels and what the employers have come together and devised, and you can then look at all those standards. And what is really key is that the funding is driving employers to employ someone, not just for the lifetime of the apprenticeship, but as an employee for life. So a retention program, looking at how they are developing their work-based off-the-job learning as well as their on-the-job learning. And it is set up so that you've got knowledge, skills and behaviours, and they're all broken down against each occupational route. So you can see what it looks like, what you're supposed to be able to do at the end of it, and there's an independent assessor at the end that signs off on every apprenticeship. Wow. So it's very different than it was before.
Well, and employer-wise, what sort of employers have been attracted to the course so far, and what sort of employers would you like to attract in the future?
Well, there's two different types because of the way the funding streams work. So if you're a really large employer with a pay bill of more than 0.13 million, then you would be a levy payer. So you'd pay the apprenticeship levy, which is a tax. Yep. And therefore, then you'd be able to dip into that to spend money on your apprenticeships. If you're a non-levy employer, a smaller business, then you've got the opportunity to have 95% of that funded. You pay the 5% yourself, but you can also get a transfer from a levy employer. So you can ask a large company to support you to fund that 5% for your programme. Well,
so there's absolutely no reason not to do it.
Well, I imagine people come up with lots of reasons not to do it. Okay. But in terms of commitment, staff retention, the benefits to business in that you've got someone that's got a new pair of eyes in your company. Yeah. They create new ideas. They challenge the status quo. and they're learning and applying that learning back into the company. So you can give them projects, you can work with them on various different things. And so you can manage and measure some return on investment if you give them the right things to do.
Yeah, and everyone, I'm just going to give you a couple of examples. There's a couple of chaps I was at Harper with who they did their placement years with their particular agricultural companies, and the agricultural companies were so impressed with them that they independently both sponsored these individuals to do their help me, Claire, thesis? Is it not what's the big word I'm looking for?
Dissertation.
Oh, that's the word I was looking for. Their dissertation on the company, and again, those two companies were so impressed with them, they offered these individuals jobs when they finished at Harper. Move it forward 20, 25, 30 years, and one's a CEO of the company, of one of the companies, and one's a chairman of the company. And they both these companies independently came up with this phrase of grow your own. And so this is sort of the forerunner, I suppose, in some ways of apprenticeships. And we picked up some other great examples. There's an amazing produce company called AM Fresh that take on a lot of Harper placement students, and they set those students projects for their thesis around key areas of the business, around sustainability or carbon capture. And to have someone dedicated and completely focused on such an integral project, and to be able to report that to the main board of these companies, and the likes of AM Fresh globally is a billion euro turnover business, and to have a Harper student, Harper graduate presenting to a board and actually changing the direction of that business is fantastic. But what do you think? What benefits can you see for businesses engaging in this scheme, please?
What I'm seeing, we're in year 4 now of the life of our apprenticeship programs, and some of them are 5-year programs where they're doing a degree part-time over that period of time. What I'm seeing now, the year 3 students have got an uplift in their role. They've been doing fantastic projects. So they've been taking electronic systems off the line and developing new systems. They've been doing welding projects to do with the safety of ladders. They've been looking at food engineering projects where they're trying to create an automated process for something. The science technical teams are doing new product development, so they're looking at specifications. They're all developing new areas within the organisation, and you can see clearly through these work-based projects that they've got something that they're giving back. And one of the food engineers, her project, she had it rolled out across every site in the UK for Avara. So I think they're seeing some huge benefit. What we also see is there is absolutely, you're right about the leadership thread and the development of their management skills as they go through these programs. So each year they step up and take on more responsibility, and they give back more to the business. There's an uplift in salary because they've become so responsible. And so we're seeing them grow and watching them grow with the programme. And it's great to then see them mentor new apprentices coming into the organisation. So there are benefits that we can measure really clearly. Yeah,
it is a fantastic win-win. Christine, she has to chip in all the time, Claire. So she just put on the messaging system. MDS trainee apprenticeships are entirely funded by Audi, who are one of our members from the apprenticeship levy pot. So they pay via the levy pot. They've already paid all and committed over £1 million. So there's a great example there of what's going on. Key challenges. Well, what do you think are the key challenges from an employer's perspective in respect to, in addition to managing people? Is it difficult because it's remote and they're at work and then they're not at work rather than being in the classroom environment? Are there challenges that you actually see? Is the apprenticeship not for everyone?
It's not for everyone. And, we are tasked as providers that we've got to do a really clear prior learning and skills assessment at the start of the process. So if we don't think it's right, because either it's not going to fit with the occupation or the individual probably can do it quicker in a different route as a different qualification to get to the same level, then we have to be honest and give them that advice and guidance. But the beauty of it is if it fits with the role, and if you're taken in as an apprentice to develop along that road, your journey is an individual one, even though you're on a course that is a degree and there's a structure to the modules. Because it's a work-based program, your company obviously develops their on-the-job training with you. So you've got that applied learning going on. We do a block release, so it's much easier for our employers to release for once a week, and a week a month, perhaps in some of the programs. But our food programs, they only come in for 4 weeks a year, and then they do a work-based project all the way through the year. So it depends on the course, the way it's run, the level, and how that works with the individual organisations. It's challenging around the 20% off the job, because, and that's probably the biggest area where companies ask us questions. But if you manage the time accordingly, and we've got tools that allow us to do that, and an online system that does it for you effectively, it's all about collecting evidence related to the work-based learning on and off the job. And as long as you collect that effectively, you manage the time accordingly, and that fits with the 20% off the job requirement that's part of the regulation.
Claire, fantastic. How can the industry engage better with the apprenticeship process? But I've got, if it's okay, I'm going to slightly answer myself. I've got 3 kids, and I've got a daughter 17 and a young man aged 16, and they're both considering doing apprenticeships, and that wasn't provoked by me. It's because of what they've picked up. You won't believe this, Claire, it's what they've picked up on TikTok, and that there's been apprenticeship schemes in other areas have been promoted, and they've got their own areas of interest, whether it be creativity or whether it be IT with My Harry. But TikTok, bizarrely, has actually sparked this interest in apprenticeships, because one worry about my daughter is that she doesn't want to go to a monosyllabic university to do something for 3-4 years and come up with lots of debt. She'd rather learn on the job, and she's researched the apprenticeship scheme and can actually see that's going to be a viable option when she gets out the other end of doing A levels. But what do you think? How can the industry engage better with the process, with the apprenticeship process?
Well, firstly, it's about creating vacancies and putting them online. It's all about making yourself visible. And, I had a look on the national website this week, and I looked at the West Midlands. There are only 145 degree apprenticeships currently showing across all sectors. There's 10,000 apprenticeships available in England at the moment from levels 2 to 7. Is that representative of what really is out there? Are all the vacancies that exist, or all of the apprenticeship opportunities that people want, are they all online? Because that's a free service that we as providers can do for employers. We can put them all up there for you, and you can have your recruitment live nationally. And that's where young people are going to look, but it's whether they find it, it's being signposted to it, it's where the careers teams are ready and they know to promote the right sectors. And I think in the food sector, we have struggled in the region in the marches, with some of our companies really struggling to find the right people. So, that's everything from sweet manufacture to fresh produce, and the meat industry particularly. It's a challenge trying to get the right skills and the right level into the business. And interestingly, we have a very different recruitment process with our surveying and land-based programs. Because a lot of the surveying people, they have networks where they go and find a company. The company says, I want to take you on. And they both come to us, the small business and the surveyor that wants to be an apprentice. And then lo and behold, it becomes a job. Wow. So they do it in a very different way. And I think, different sectors have a different approach to the way that they recruit. But, it's a free service. The National Apprenticeship Service, you can put your vacancy online and see what happens.
Wow. Yeah, it goes back to the conversation that Christine and I were having about the AHDB Ag Leaders Week from a couple of weeks ago, and that we compared it to the likes of engineering. And the engineering sector is so is so well versed that every year they come out with a campaign, and they manage to make it onto mainstream TV, and they always get a very smart, forward-thinking young man, young girl working in a Formula One team, working for Rolls-Royce, and they just sort of sow that seed about how there's another 35,000 engineers needed. But so they're so good on the PR promotion element to get people into that sector. When you come to us, we have to rely on the likes of Jeremy Clarkson with, and thank you very much for Caroline for Diddley Squat Farm to get kids interested in. But if that works, great. But again, just looking for a positive from a negative, the fact that so many younger individuals are really enthused, excited about food, about where food comes from, because there's a positive tsunami about the messaging about it. So if you'd like to have yourself, Claire and Harper, these engaged employers can look to bring them in. It's going to be happy days. But I'm still surprised that there's quite a few companies I come across who aren't aware of the levy pot that they can actually get these individuals, and it's a bit difficult to. Claire, what can we do? This talk about bringing the horse to water.
It is complex. The funding is difficult, and that is probably one of the biggest challenges for the smaller businesses, because they've got to go through a process of signing contracts with the ESFA and getting all the systems set up. But once it's up and running, it's digital, so everything is really simple. You choose your provider, you choose the amount you want to pay, and the system works it out for you. Yeah. And therefore it makes life, pretty simple. Yeah. But it is about eligibility and entry level. You have got to be responsible for finding the right recruit that fits the criteria. People have got to have lived in the UK or the EEA for the last 3 years. There are some, minor eligibility criteria that sit behind all of that. Okay. But that's what we're here for, really, is to help people, find their way through the myriad of questions. Yeah. There are.
We talked about it before with previous Women in Food and Farming broadcast. We talked about the Dutch diamond, that they have this link between government, education and business, and they call it the Dutch diamond, and it's a lovely virtuous circle. And it feels that in some respects we don't have that, because using that example of some companies not being aware of the levy pot, and is that sort of government's job to inform them, so that an HR director, as soon as they start a new role, they should be challenging the business. We must have 5-10 apprenticeships coming through because we want to grow our own, and we're sort of slightly missing that. But on a positive basis, it's all there to be had, and that's why we're really keen to promote the likes of yourself, Claire, and the likes of Harper to engage with us on it. Well, what's it like being an apprenticeship ambassador from an employer's perspective, do you think?
Well, the bit I love to do is to talk about the success stories, and also to try and encourage more employers to come forward, because, as you've said, there are some really great employers doing things with apprentices that don't always get their 15 minutes of fame. So we try and shine a light on those people, and we're trying to grow a Marches ambassador group. So we've got more employers coming forward that can talk about apprenticeships and develop case studies and those videos explaining why you should do it, the benefits of having an apprentice, what the apprentices get out of it. Yeah. And, there's so many different opportunities to bring it forward.
Yeah, we're going to show you a couple of great videos from Kirsty from MDS and Libby in a minute. Kirsty, can you get ready to roll the video if you're okay? Claire, what can we do to help this broadcast? This will have a lifespan of 2, 3, 4 months. What can we all collectively do with our networks to help you, to help Harper, to help the apprenticeship scheme, please?
Well, we are really keen to encourage more people into the food and farming industry. So from a food perspective, we'd like more work to go on around the careers, opportunities, and if there's anything we can do with outreach with schools and colleges to promote apprenticeships, then let us know. From an agriculture perspective, what we'd really like is for the employers to get involved in consultations that are going on nationally. They're looking at agriculture as a big occupational map at the moment, and there's lots missing at the higher level. So there's a real gap around level 4 and 5 technical qualifications for around apprenticeships for agriculture. We've got a professional advisor in agriculture and horticulture, but we've got nothing around agricultural engineering. There's nothing around agri-tech, which should be coming forward. You know, we've been looking, you know, other employer groups have been focusing on the lower level apprenticeships, absolutely right. But it's time we had something at the higher level to find these managers and leaders of the future. We've just developed the senior leader for the food industry, but we need something for agriculture too.
Wow, that's amazing about ag tech, because that's on fire.
Absolutely.
So what's an example? Aero Farms in the States is just they're onto about $1 billion US of funding to grow innovative salad cropping, and they're doing that using high-end ag tech. So if there's any ag tech businesses that want to find a good way to grow their own, let's use that phrase today, to grow the future management team, engage with Clare, engage with Harper. Right, Kirsty, are you ready to roll this video for us?
Yeah,
here it comes. Fantastic. Claire, if you turn off your video, please.
Training and development for your staff is a crucial role that you play as an employer. Research has shown that when looking for a new career or a career change, the opportunity to have development within that role is one of the top 5 things that they're looking for, above a salary rise. Now, offering our members the opportunity to put their staff on our unique level 5 qualification has really benefited those companies and their staff members. We currently have around about 70 people on the training programme. From an employer's point of view, you are benefiting from the fact that your staff are going to come back with better understanding of processes. They're going to come back feeling renewed and feel that you appreciate them within a business. Being able to utilise the apprenticeship as well makes this really affordable. People either pay for it through the apprenticeship levy or they pay the subsidised fees. So whether or not you're doing the MDS apprenticeship or looking at different apprenticeships, it really is a beneficial way of improving the resources within your business, but also looking at team morale and making those people that you employ feel that they are worthwhile, that you do consider them and that you want more and better things for them. We've definitely seen that the members who have completed the training and gone back, that they've seen a benefit of this training programme, and the feedback that we get from the member trainees that are on the programme is that the apprenticeship really works for them, it fits around their lifestyle, and that they know that they're going to be able to use it in other things in the future.
Hello, my name is Libby Richards, and I can proudly say that I have been an MDS trainee for 6 months now. So I studied French and Spanish at university, and without wanting to completely discredit my 4-year degree, whilst I could happily analyse a French novel, I did not have a great deal of practical business knowledge. But this is where the apprenticeship came in. In the space of 6 months, we've had 6 full days of workshops, which have ranged from inspirational leadership to project development. Unfortunately, because of COVID, all of my training has been virtual, so I've missed out on the infamous face-to-face training. It can be pretty difficult to manage the workload, especially on top of a full-time job, but this is something that MDS trainees are forced to learn really quite quickly. And once you have mastered the art of time management, the apprenticeship work becomes very, very rewarding. I think one of the biggest benefits of the apprenticeship, as much for MDS trainees as it is for MDS member companies, is that the apprenticeship makes MDS trainees well-rounded managers. Although most MDS trainees have really good practical skills, they don't necessarily have the knowledge and the confidence that will allow them to excel as managers in the fresh produce industry. As you can probably tell from this video, I am thrilled to be doing my level 5 management and leadership qualification. The fact that I get excited about things like Gantt charts speaks volumes in itself. I'm more than happy to answer any questions, and thank you so much for inviting me to speak today. It is a real honour.
That's fantastic. Claire Keegan, can you come back in? Libby, can we have you? Christine, can we have you? And Kirsty, can we have you? Claire, wasn't Libby and Kirsty great?
That's really good. And there's loads of questions, Libby. But yeah, I think it's a great opportunity, and the exposure that you get to all the different companies is excellent. And I think that's wonderful. That the work-based application of knowledge is the thing that makes the difference. And we can do some kind of comparisons. We have one program that is delivered as an undergraduate course and as a degree apprenticeship, and they're both exactly the same, but one is longer and work-based. And over the 5 years, obviously, we'll gather some comparative data and have a look at where those individuals end up at the end. And it is really interesting to see people's journey. So fascinating that you've got languages and you're going into fresh produce. I'm sure it's going to be really useful because it's global business, isn't it?
It is. Libby, well done. I thought that was fantastic. And there's a number of employers that I know who I think if they got it positively introduced to you, they would take you on so quickly. Just talk us through, having heard Claire, would you look to positively endorse this type of scheme to people that you might meet out in your network or socially, or are you trying to keep it for yourself? What do you think, Libby?
I'm definitely not trying to keep it for myself. I have said to many of my friends, this is something that you need to get involved in. Look how far I've come. Look at all these cool things I'm doing. And I think I've had a few nibbles. I've had a few interested people. Yeah.
But just on a sort of a serious aspect, because you are the future, and we have to use this as a bit of the test case, and I keep on parading this Dutch diamond model where they are 20 years in front of us. Do you think this is a potential salvation for the career shortage that we've got in food? If you've got a photocopier behind you, Libby, we need to put you through the photocopier 50 times. Make 50. Do you think this type of scheme is going to be beneficial to employers? Well, at some point, we can all see at some point you're going to be an employer yourself. You're going to be taking younger generation. Do you think this scheme will help employers?
I think definitely, yeah. I mean, as I said in the video, a lot of trainees have very good practical skills, but my case is quite a good example. I started the MDS scheme, didn't really know much about business at all, and suddenly I have all this vast extensive knowledge base of management tools and sort of like how to run a project properly and what is a Gantt chart and all these exciting things, which I would have never had any knowledge of leaving university. So yeah, I mean, definitely extremely beneficial.
Okay, so that's a big thumbs up for you to recommend this type of scheme that Claire can assist with to employers. You're happy to recommend it. Fantastic.
100%.
And Kirsty, come on, you've seen, I was going to say you've seen hundreds of Libbies, but there's only one Libby until we put her through the photocopy machine later. You must be very proud at the way this apprenticeship scheme has been created, has been set up to the benefit of MDS.
Absolutely. I mean, MDS has always been known for the high quality of people that we put out at the end of it, but we always wanted to do that little bit more for the trainees, and the fact that the apprenticeship gives them a certified qualification. So lots of people are going and doing degrees nowadays, and a degree doesn't necessarily always make you stand out. And like Libby was saying, it's important that people are taking people into their businesses who have got proper sort of management skills, real work experience, because it's very different sitting behind a desk and learning things that your lecturer is spouting off to you. And if we can produce more people who can get going within their careers sooner because they've had this practical sort of hands-on experience whilst learning all the theory and getting qualifications out of it, all the better, really.
Fantastic. Christine, what do you think?
Well, I should say you want to duplicate Libby. I think we've got 80 trainees on the MDS scheme at the moment, and they're all different and they all have their special skills. But and then as Kirsty said, that we've got another 70 people doing apprenticeships who work for our members. So, you know, the scheme that we've developed for the food industry, so everybody is in the food or fresh produce industry in our groups. They've developed it specially for us. And of course, when you send your one employee, and when they get face to face, it'll be even better. They are then mixing with lots of other people across the food industry, might be from retailers, might be from an ag chem business. So we just sort of, it mixes it all together, but it's focused on our industry and helps create that network. So I just think it's hugely exciting.
Yeah, and so Libby, you need to put more tone in the photocopier because it's going to be busy a little bit later trying to replicate all those MDS students. Claire, just one point I just wanted to bring up. You look at the success that Libby's managed to create for herself via virtual learning, e-learning. There's definitely an e-learning revolution happening out there. And one thing that we're picking up is that on an entrepreneurial basis, people that traditionally might have wanted to do the likes of a whole MBA are waking up to the fact that they don't have to do a whole MBA. If they want to do one segment of something to progress what they're doing, whether it be in a particular business, in a career, or whether they're starting up a new business. So just making it up, if they wanted to do a high level element of digital content management, there's enough courses out there on an e-learning basis. It's fascinating how the e-learning side can now be deployed to the likes of Libby and all of our colleagues within MDS's advantage. And it comes back to what Christine was saying, that when you leave college, university, or MDS, you don't stop learning. There's that ability now to pick up even more so on an e-learning basis. Is this something that Harper's looking to do in the future, more and more e-learning?
Yes, it's changed enormously since COVID changed our lives. So we have a very blended approach, and obviously we did go to 100% remote learning at one point, but we did an employer survey, and actually probably 25% want to stay remote, and the rest really love the blended approach and want to come back and meet everybody. And the food courses prefer 100% face-to-face. So these people that have come forward, the senior leader program, that's food industry management, and the food industry technical professional, because it's such a practical program, they want to be on site together. And Christine's right, it's about that blend of companies that come forward, because we've got someone from pizza and bread, someone from fresh produce, someone from dairy, someone from meat, someone from chicken, some poultry, someone from pork. You know, you've got all the different representation. We've even got a food powders company, and they learn from each other, and they go to each other's organisations when they're allowed to do tours and develop that process around the country. So we've had a mix. We're just developing a veterinary technician programme. We are going to do a lot more of that online with a few weeks of very practical hands-on training for the things that they need to do. And I think that will be a really interesting agricultural programme to have a comparison.
Fantastic. And Claire, you're an utter rock star promoting this. How can we get in contact with you? How can we get in contact with Harper, please?
Well, there's an apprenticeships at harper-adams.ac.uk. So that's all available. If you go to the Harper website, harper.ac.uk, and you type in Clare Keegan, then you get all my details. And there's a page under Work With Us about apprenticeships. So it's all up there for you if you want to see it.
Fantastic. Christine, over to you.
Yes, I just want to say there are other universities. But I should say that Cranfield have actually turned their MBA programme into an apprenticeship. And they then went and I think they've protected the word a mastership, where they put the two together. So a lot of the universities are obviously concerned that their niche of getting people from school and taking them through a degree through for 3 years is actually being challenged by the whole apprenticeship program. So I think you'll find that a lot of universities are looking at being able to do both types of education. So it's widely available because we're all running to catch up really, and none of us want to lose those fantastic school leavers who just choose not to do a degree, to go the apprenticeship route.
The 18-year-old demographic is going up this year. So, we have hit an all-time low of 18-year-olds last year. And so the demographic profile will change going forward. And there'll be more students to be able to come out either to go to university or to choose a different route. And apprenticeships is such a great opportunity. And Christine's right, there's so many different providers and there's so many new programmes being developed at level 4 and 5. So your journey might be one where you step on and off and finally end up with a degree. It might not be that you choose that as a first option. And I think it's about trying to get lots of different routes available for individuals across the industry so that you can choose the right thing at the right time for you. Yep. And you can have it from level 2 to level 7. There are incentives now, £3,000 per apprentice if a new employer takes them on. But also, let's not forget there are existing employees that might have come up through the ranks in your business and they then want to be turned into an apprentice. And we've got about 25% of those. And they are genuinely people that want to develop their academic skills to be able to progress their career. And I think, they're an important sector as well.
Fantastic, Claire. Thank you. And just before we wrap up and go back to Christine, Libby, thank you very much. You're amazing. It's going to be fascinating to watch your career. Kirsty, thank you as ever for holding the fort on this broadcast. And Claire, I think I've got a tab behind the bar, the student union's bar from oh good grief, 30 years ago. You hear these stories about a chap who takes back an overdue library book from 30, 40 years ago, and it turns out he owes thousands. Well, I think I owe thousands to Harper in interest from that bar bill. So please do not tell the principal that I was involved with you on this broadcast, otherwise they'll come chasing me. Christine, we've got to mention Clare Smith for more people that if you want to join, well, it's not a case of want to join, you need to join Women in Food and Farming. If you dial into Google, Clare Smith, more people, Women in Food and Farming, you'll get to the joining page on the More People website and you can join up there. As we said earlier on the mantra on the Halcyon call, we'd love for you all to invite 5-10 of your friends, colleagues to join these and also to join Women in Food and Farming, because I think it's very realistic to get you over 1,000 members by the end of the year. Christine, anything to say before we wrap up and go into the breakout rooms, please?
Just that it's free to join. So if you sign up, we will just let you know what the webinars are, and then all of the links to the previous ones are all there. So you can look at topics such as ambition and confidence and Brexit and rural youth, all these sort of things we've already discussed. And to say that my team of steering group that helped me run this have actually got speakers sorted out right the way through to the end of the year. So it's really, really looking forward to it, and just keep on top of it. Sign up and you'll find out what we're talking about. Thank you.
And just to say, congratulations again, Christine, to your beautiful daughter getting engaged. Whee!
You're going to come and say hello?
Hello.
Quickly. She's just getting supper ready. Go on, just say hello.
Congratulations from all of us at Women in Food and Farming.
Thank you very much.
Excellent. Was that a surprise?
Yes, it was. Although my parents had prior warning.
All right. So are you going to? Was it down on one knee? Come on, quickly talk us through it.
Yeah, it was in Isla. He went. Oh. He took me up this massive hill. And part of the way through, I was telling him I hated him. I'm not a mountain goat. And he got to the top. He said it was worth it, and he got down on one knee. And I said, yes. So I suppose it was worth it.
Eve, congratulations! Well done. That's happy days. We all look forward to the wedding invite for June next year.
Thank you.
Excellent. Kirsty, I'll stop the live stream if you want to swap over to the breakout rooms.
Thank you, Claire. Thank you, Max.
Thank you.